Declaration of War began his racing career in France under the tutelage of Jean-Claude Rouget, for whom he won both his starts as a 2-year-old by an aggregate of no less than 11 lengths. After missing much of his 3-year-old season owing to a setback, Declaration of War nevertheless finished the campaign in style, first scoring at the Curragh in late September. No less than 6 days later, and despite encountering some traffic problems, Declaration of War was then successful on his first start in graded stakes company. 2013 began with a 5th success from his first 6 starts, and his next came over Royal Ascot's Straight Mile in the Group 1 Queen Anne.
Declaration of War can't get through. He's stuck for a run. Is Gregorian and Elusive Kate without Jammy here between them. Now Declaration of War has got daylight on the near side and declares war on the opposition and swoops through to win. Declaration of War wins the Queen Anne. Declaration of War has done extremely well to win here. He had nowhere to go with about a furlong left to run, but once into the clear, he has sprouted wings for Joseph O'Brien.
Well, Declaration of War, winner of the Queen Anne Stakes, 38th Royal Ascot victory for Aidan O'Brien, and Joseph O'Brien forcing his way through between Librano, Greencap and Elusive Kate, but he was firmly on top in the final analysis, Jim.
It was certainly tight, but Graham, once he hit the front, he was really impressive.
He confirms all the promise that he shows at home. Here's the head-on, Jim. He's tight for room between Librano and Elusive Kate, but the gap comes in ample time. This horse, as you've said, Jim, is a gorgeous looker.
After 3 more excellent efforts in Group 1 company, Declaration of War went to York for the Group 1 Juddmonte International, going 1 mile and 5/16.
Declaration of War is thrusting down the outside and looks a big danger as they pull clear of Hillstar now, and Declaration of War takes over from his second Trading Leather, battling on well. Al-Kazim flattening out a little bit as they race up towards the line. Declaration of War by a length to Trading Leather, and Declaration of War wins the Battle of the Knavesmire in the Juddmonte International. He ran in the Lockage, the Queen Anne, the Eclipse, he ran in the Sussex and the Prix Jacques Le Marois, and he's come here to win the Juddmonte International. How tough must this horse be?
He's like a boxer who just keeps getting back in the ring. Another fight, another fight, another fight. I'm down, I'll get back again. And he's come back here with the knockout punch. Declaration of War gives Aidan O'Brien his 4th Juddmonte International and follows in the footsteps of the headline horse is Giant's Causeway. He was so tough.
One thing you cannot fault Declaration of War for is consistency, because he has turned up and delivered his best every time. And at this distance, Jim, Graham, he's had relatively little experience, and therefore Connections can rightly believe there's another day or 2 or perhaps another year to enjoy with him, but he's a hell of a stallion prospect now.
I couldn't agree more. He's a very, very tough and durable horse. He looked magnificent beforehand, and he's got a temperament to match.
We know that he's a high-quality horse. We know that he's dead consistent, but it's looking more and more as if 10 furlongs is a better trip than a mile for him.
Declaration of War wins the Juddmonte International, and of course Aidan O'Brien won his first international on the way back in 2000 with Giant's Causeway and that epic battle with Calanisi. This was a little bit more clear-cut. Fine stallion prospect for Coolmore. Declaration of War, and Claire is down with Connections.
But this horse, Declaration of War, seems capable of running over any distance at all. As you heard the guys say, Aidan had always said this is a horse with an awful lot of speed, but he's come here in a high-quality Group 1 race, and he's been a convincing winner. And Aidan, if I can just grab a word with you. Well done. Many congratulations, first of all, your 4th Juddmonte International winner. Did you think, genuinely, coming into today, did you think, oh, I'll win the big race?
And he's an incredible constitution, this horse, Claire. He's been improving with every run. Listen, Andrew, who's in charge of him at home, Dean, who rides him, Jimmy, who looks after him, everyone was so positive. Joseph, when he rode him, work, that he was only getting better. It's hard to believe he's having such a busy time and improving, but he has such a constitution. Obviously, we couldn't get him there at home, Claire, but amazing horse. He's a great traveller, great temperament, and quickens and tries very hard, you know.
Does he remind you at all of the first horse you won this race with, Giant's Causeway? He seemed to be able to run every other week or every week if you wanted him to.
He's very like the Giant, is right. Travels very strong, very tough, and obviously you can see the busy time he's having and getting better from it, Claire.
His next and final start came in the Vintage Breeders' Cup Classic, where on his only start on dirt, he again covered himself in glory.
Mucho Macho Man! Declaration of War! Fort Larned on the inside! Mucho Macho Man has the lead close to home!
But that really, to me, was one of the best losing performances I've seen in all of the Breeders' Cup races I've ever seen.
Literally a foreign surface for him, and he ran a tremendous race. And you know, sometimes in America horses change leads and get that little extra. Declaration of War didn't change leads. If he had, maybe he gets there.
It was a stellar performance to run like that. First start, new surface. First start off a more than 2-month layoff against that kind of competition. He was a star of the Breeders' Cup 2013 as far as I'm concerned, even in defeat.
Declaration of War's excellence and versatility as a racehorse should come as no surprise when you look at his pedigree.
Declaration of War's family is going to be very familiar to American breeders. His dam is a Rahi half-sister to Union Rags, who won the Champagne Stakes at 2, the Belmont Stakes at 3, and is now a highly thought of young stallion. Declarations of War's sire, Warfront, he's the last probably top-class son of Danzig, and he's become one of the world's most sought-after sires. Has to be remembered that none of his runners to date have been sired off a stud fee of more than 15,000, and yet he's already sired 33 stakes winners, 19 of them group and graded, and there's no horse in more demand.
Allied to his exceptional pedigree is an impressive physique.
I loved him from the moment I first set eyes on him in this very paddock before the Queen Anne.
Well, a smasher to look at, a real powerful masculine horse. Really knocked you out with his physique, you know, and a real top quality, well-bred horse, the sort that most people would love to use.
And when I think of Declaration of War, I personally think of one of my favourite Bertrand Russell quotes, which is, "War is not about what is right, but what is left." And Declaration of War left himself a great record. He fought every fight. He fought battles at different fronts, at a mile and a quarter. He was tough and consistent and durable. And he went through the pain barrier, which I think is really important in a racehorse. He faced up to the rigours of competition and came back stronger and quicker. But although toughness and durability was his hallmark, the way he did it had style and elan. He had a turn of foot, he had speed, he had versatility, and he blossomed considerably throughout that arduous 2013 campaign.
One of the interesting things when you look at Declaration of War overall is the remarkable similarities between him and Giant's Causeway, the parallels. Both are coming to America after standing a season in Europe where they were tremendously popular. Both of them as racehorses had this iron horse reputation. Both won Group 1 races over a mile at Royal Ascot. Both won the Juddmonte. And then the parallels extend to their pedigrees. Both are out of Rahi mares and both are bred on the Northern Dancer Rahi Cross.
But he looked a rather indomitable character on certain occasions. Even in defeat, you could be sure that he'd given his all. And those are the hallmarks of a real warrior of the turf, a horse who you would hope would get horses in his image, for they are the horses that are best to watch.